How's it going, Rogues Gallery, and welcome to another Grand Archive video here on Red Zone Rogue. We are doing another Grand Archive video today. A ton of news dropping recently, a ton of very, very exciting things that, in my opinion, help prove that Grand Archive is legit. It's not just me saying it, it's things that they're also doing as well. The game is incredibly fun, and it is going the distance. So let's talk about that today. We're going to go over a lot of the spoilers from the next set, Fractured Crown, but there is one major announcement that I may have or may not have included already in the title and thumbnail, and that is Grand Archive will officially be coming to TCG Player at the launch of the first set, Dawn of Ashes, which is only in 3 days from the time of this recording on April 28th. Now, for everyone who comments and is like, oh, my LGS doesn't carry Grand Archive or anything, that's because the game hasn't actually officially launched yet. Only the Kickstarter product is currently out. The game officially launches on the 28th, and it is carried by most of the major distributors here in the United States. If you want to, check it for your individual region, they do have a place for that on the website here, but that's not what we're getting into today. What we're getting into today is some articles here. And so one of the articles, the first one I want to show, is the Dawn of Ashes preparing for launch. And this is talking about all the stuff you need to know for the Dawn of Ashes official Alter Edition launch, which is the actual launch. And there's a bunch of stuff here. Stores that want to run events, they're very good with that. They have really, really cool prize kits that they will send to stores with like booster box support, these event pack support. I will be running a Discord tournament in May that will have a hard cap on the number of players. It's probably going to be a smaller event because I'm just me. I can't really host a huge thing, but it will have official Grand Archive prize support. We will have booster pack prize support as well as event pack prize support. It will be a starter deck only tournament playing with starter decks from the Alter Edition. The Alter Edition starter decks and the Kickstarter starter decks are different. So we're only playing with Alter Edition starter decks. I want to make this event as new player friendly as possible. And because of that, we will have very casual pricing. Basically, I want to make it so everyone gets prizes. I'll have the full details later, but long story short, if you sign up for the event, you actually play all your matches, you're going to get some event packs, you're going to get some booster packs, and hopefully you have a brilliant time just playing some Grand Archive with a bunch of people in a very casual setting. I don't want it to be a tournament for people who have been grinding the game for the last 2 months on Tabletop Simulator to come and spike the event and win all the things. That's not what this is. This is to get new players to play the game. So stay tuned for that. So anyway, man, I'm already in the weeds here. So this is what I want to talk about. The launch campaign for TCG Player, which is a big deal. Like, if you know what it takes to get onto TCG Player, you know that this is not a small task. This is something that takes a lot of work, and you have to prove to TCG Player that you're a legitimate company, that you are doing things to grow your game, to grow your audience. And so getting onto TCG Player is a big deal. And in my opinion, it is one of the first true steps that a TCG makes to become, I don't want to say widely successful, but it's just a step on the journey to become, like, a thing, to become a thing. Like, it's legit, right? And so here you have what it says here. It just says that it should be on TCG Player shortly after release. They're working closely with TCG Player on a launch campaign to encourage retailers and sellers to list inventory for both Kickstarter and Alter Edition product. Maybe it's time to sort out that first edition bulk. We're unbelievably excited to be partnering with TCG Player to bring Grand Archive to a whole new level of accessibility for our community. This is just awesome. Dawn has only just begun. And, a lot of people ask me about a lot of Kickstarter TCGs here and there. And if I had to just plant my flag somewhere, out of all the Kickstarter TCGs, I feel that Grand Archive is the one that I think could really make it as a trading card game with a organized play circuit. And I think it's just got everything to succeed, right? Great art, great gameplay, great developers who are responsive to the community's needs. Just awesome. They're TCG Player. It looks like they're running their business well. And we're going to segue this into the next set, right? So the first set is coming out in only a couple days, but they have already started to spoil some stuff for the next set, which will be launching in, I do believe, August 25th. We'll talk about that. That might not be the right date, but we'll talk about that when we go to the Fractured Crown information here. But why that's important is it means that they are already designing, and they're likely going to start printing the next set, which gives me a lot of faith and confidence that they're not going to go back to Kickstarter and try to, kickstart the next set. It means they're spending their money in such a way that it's going to be a sustainable thing to keep pumping out sets as they need, or as is wanted and planned, so that fans of the game can continue to play the game, get product, all of that good stuff. And I listened to a recent interview where they're like, they have several sets like planned out already. So very, very cool stuff. This, if everything that I hope happens, you're essentially watching a case study on how to make a Kickstarter game succeed. So I hope that doesn't age poorly, but let's get into the Fractured Crown spoilers. Really, really cool stuff here. So let's go to the articles. Fractured Crown design notes. There's also product information. Let's check out the product information to make sure I got the launch date right. August 25th. I was correct. So yes, Fractured Crown is launching in August 25th. The first main event for Grand Archive will be the Ascent Houston, and this set will be legal for that event. All right, so let's go back to articles. And let's go to the design notes, because they have released a lot of stuff. So now, I'm not going to read this entire thing because there's a lot to go over. But let's check out some of the cards and go over some interesting things. So it says, welcome to our first preview of Fractured Crown. We've learned many lessons through design we've learned many lessons through designing the Dawn of Ashes set, and by watching how our amazing community gradually developed a meta from the ground up. Like I said, they are paying attention to the community, and they're actually learning from the things that they're doing. It's just all very, very great stuff. Fractured Crown as a set really reflects how our team has grown. In this article, we'll be going over the design philosophies of the cards in Fractured Crown, as well as the product design improvements for a better box opening experience. And that, I think, is also very important. And that's just very important because you might know, you might not know, but some people opening Kickstarter, the Kickstarter product, it was difficult, really difficult to get collector rares, which is by design, but maybe not to the extent that it was. Like, some people were opening like 50, 60, 70 boxes and not getting one, where it was like, on average, you should have been getting them in like the first 30 or 40 or something like that. And I pulled one, maybe it's even less than that, but I pulled one in my boxes that I opened. And tightening that up to make it a less feel bad is really good. So we'll talk about how they're doing that. So set design notes. They're going to have more generic interaction, which is really good. And so you have these cards here that interact with a wider array of things, like this card here, which I very much like, and not just because of the art, but also because of the art. No, this is Varican Acolyte. It's a 0/1 for 3. On enter, destroy target regalia with memory cost 0. This is really, really good for, destroying really pesky regalia. Having more interaction is always great, and also gets a +3 attack if you are level 3+. I really like this card a lot. You also have something like a Scavenging Raccoon, which is banished up to 2 target cards from a single graveyard. So we got some graveyard hate here going on. Song of Frost, which is class bonus. If you're a tamer, you may banish a card with floating memory from your graveyard rather than paying this card's reserve cost, which is interesting. And then it says, if a unit is attacking, end the combat phase, which is also very, very great. So I really like this, that you can play the floating memory for this instead of like just materializing a card. Cool stuff, really interesting things. Slowing down advanced elements. Slowing down advanced elements. And that's just what it is. Some of the advanced element heroes, or strategies rather, rush to their advanced element to be as impactful as possible. And here are some things that kind of help with that. So we have like a Tithe Proclamation, which is a regalia item. On enter, draw a card. That's really good. And it just says players can't draw more than 3 cards each turn unless it's their first turn of the game. So this definitely hoses over one of my strategies, actually, which is a Lightweaver Assault kind of combo, where you play a card called Lightweaver Assault, reveal a bunch of cards from your memory, and then hopefully they are the card that let you banish it to draw 2 cards, so you can combo off and draw a crap load of cards. So having interactive stuff like this is just really good. We have the Dawn of Ashes card itself, which is a unique domain, Cleric Cataclysm. Upkeep at the beginning of your recollection phase, reveal a card at random from your memory. If that card is not Norm Element, sacrifice Dawn of Ashes. Non-Norm Element cards cost 1 more to activate. So this kind of like this, what you'd call it, like a Death and Taxes sort of effect, where it just kind of taxes your opponent. This one incentivizes you to play Norm, which is very interesting. And then we have a really interesting card. Once again, not because of the art, but also because of the art. But no. This is Innervate Agility. It's fast. As initial cost to activate this card, de-level your champion and then recover 5, which is like gaining 5 life. And so de-level it means you return the top card of its lineage to your material deck, which is super interesting. I like this for multiple reasons, because it depowers your champion, but it also makes it so you can get their enter effect again, which is super interesting, especially if you're already running like a lot of floating memory, so you can kind of just jam them back down for free. Units you control gain your choice of Stealth or Spell Shroud until end of turn. Very good getting Spell Shroud or Stealth. Also, units includes your champion, so this is a very interesting card. It may or may not see play here or there. It's yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. So it says hand size user experience. Once again, like I said, we're not going to be going into detail. Please read this at your own leisure. But they're introducing a new mechanic called Influence, which counts the number of cards in hand plus the number of cards in your memory. So it says if target opponent's influence is greater than yours, recover 4. So if their hand plus memory is greater than yours, then you get to recover 4. And this also has floating memory, which is really great. They also have Illuminate Secrets. By the way, the fast cure is really good for staving off these super aggressive decks. And Illuminate Secrets, with my boy Xander on it, says deal an amount of damage equal to its owner's influence minus your influence. So you get to deal damage to a unit equal to the owner's influence minus your influence. So, you know, just a great way to, you know, get that disparity, make it more equal. And I don't know, it's really good if your opponent's drawing a crap load of cards, basically, right? So yeah, against the deck that like a wizard or right. By the way, this is fast. So if they're just drawing like a crap load of cards, then you can do something like play Illuminate Secrets and blast them for a ton of damage, especially if you have very low cards, not very many cards in your hand. Diversify the material deck. Oh, this is something that I'm very much looking forward to, because this Varukan Soul Knife is exactly what my current deck needs. So it says, we're pretty happy with how the material decks vary from class to class. However, when comparing the material decks of different basic elements in the same class, there's very little diversity in the material deck list. True. In Fractured Crown, we're introducing Basic Element Regalia with the aim of making each basic element class combination feel more distinct. And so, for example, is the Soul Knife, which, like I said, is legit, costs 0, class bonus, element bonus. So if you're playing a Fire Assassin, it says you may banish 3 Fire Element cards from your graveyard to activate this card from your material deck. And activate basically means the same as play it. So, great, absolutely great. Class bonus, on kill, return the Soul Knife to your material deck. So it's this knife that you can just keep playing over and over again to keep killing your opponent's stuff. This is a great card. Yeah, so I'm definitely putting this into my Xander deck. Really great. And you also have something like the Wand of Frost, which has class bonus, draw a card, and then you can banish it to give a unit's attacks -3 until end of turn. The fact that, once again, this is unit and not ally is great, so you can use this on your opponent's champion. And then we have like something like the Effigy of Gaia. Beautiful art. The art in all these is great. But it says, class bonus, your champion gets +1 level as long as you control an animal or beast, which is really good for Sylvie. And it also says, whenever an opponent activates an attack card with Cleave, animal and beast allies you control get +2 health until end of turn. Also really good and important for saving your little beasties and your animals. So yeah, I really like the direction here. We also have some new card types, Phantasias and Fractals. Okay, so I'll just shortcut this. I'm not going to go over, well, I am going to show up the cards, but so basically, Fantasias, I said Fantasias. Fantasias are more or less, if you are familiar with Magic, they're like creature enchantments, or enchantments, right? Enchant permanents. So like Mark of Fervor here is a 2-cost ally link. So this object enters the field linked to an ally. It's like a creature enchantment, right? If the link is broken, sacrifice this object. Linked ally gets +1/+1 and vigor. Great, so this is just kind of like a standard +1/+1 and a attack buff. Vigor is kind of like vigilance. Once again, I'm attributing things to Magic terms to shortcut, but basically vigor means like you can attack with it and have it still be like readied. I think do they ready at the end of your turn? I don't remember the exact text on vigor, but this is more or less like kind of like a pseudo vigilance. And then we also have fractals, and fractals are like objects that give you resources so you don't have to pay cards from hand into your memory, kind of like mana rocks from Magic. So for example, I think this one is a great one that a lot of people might play. So it says Fractal of Insight. It costs 2. It's also a Fantasia. So I guess these are like, yeah, all the Fantasias are more or less like enchantments or something. They're Fantasias. They sit around and do something. So this is on enter. You may rest Fractal of Insight. If you do, glimpse 2. But it also has reservable, which is the mana rock type effect that I said. While paying for a reserve cost, you may rest this object to pay 1 of that cost, which is great. And in Grand Archive, there's no such thing as like colored reserve, at least not now. So any of these can go in, so it's like this Fractal of Insight, for example. You can use this to pay for a fire card or a water card or whatever. And you also have some other fractals too that do other things. So like the Deep Sea Fractal enters rested, and then on enter, each player mills the top card of their deck, and then it also has that reservable keyword. And then we also have like a fractal or a protective fractal, which you can rest to prevent 1 damage to a champion, or you can also rest it to pay for a reserve cost. I think the design space is great, and it just gives everyone more deck building options. Really good stuff. So this is about the product design. And what I mean by product design is like the booster box collation and that kind of stuff. And so, for example, they are going to be making certain cards more rare. They're cards that you only need 1 of. So it says too many 1 of duplicates. So for example, material deck cards, you can only have 1 of each material deck card in your material deck. So they are short printing material deck cards. So it says, on average, material deck cards will be short printed by 20% to 40% compared to main deck cards with the same rarity. And so this is great when you're opening packs, and so you don't end up with a ton of material deck cards that you don't need, and hopefully you'll get, like, for example, like the super rares that you do need like 4 ofs, right? So I think this is smart, makes a lot of sense. It's something that Flesh and Blood does. And then also about the collector rares. So it's 1 in 15 boxes. Okay. And I opened, just so you know, I opened 11 boxes and I got 1. But I've also seen someone open up like 40 and not get a single one. I feel like this is a good spot for collector rares, but boxes were never at an accessible price point for most people after product had been released. Due to high demand of first edition, 1 in 15 boxes really felt like 1 in 30 boxes. In the Alter edition of in Dawn of Ashes, the collector rare rates decreased to 1 in 30 boxes. This is primarily due to only having 4 collector super rares in the set, compared to like the tons in first edition, and a goal of making the product more player focused, which is also good. In addition to pull rates for collector rares, they're pretty random. So they've had people, yeah, this is basically what I said. People who have opened up 3 collector rares in a case, and then someone opened up like, you know, their first 1 in 50 boxes. I think this is important right here though. In most cases, the frustration of many is not worth the excitement of a few. 100% I agree. Minimizing the feel bads for the majority of people is better than one person like being super stoked that they got 3 collector rares. The only person who's happy that they got 3 collector rares is the person who got the 3 collector rares, right? In Fracture's Crowns, we want more people to see what collector rares look like. They are beautiful. I have one over there. Some of the collector rares we've made are some of the prettiest cards we've ever seen in any TCG. I believe it. The quality is insane. We're increasing collector rare rate back up to 1 in 15 boxes in Fractured Crown. Great. That's great to hear. But this time the product should be much more accessible on release. In addition, the lower MSRP per box makes collector rares even more accessible. Also great. Lastly, we're increasing the amount of boxes in a case from 6 to 18. This is interesting. With this, we'll be also guaranteeing that each case has at least one collector rare. This is great for stores, and it's great for big whale collectors, or mid whatever you want to call them. I was saying mid-level collectors, but people who buy like a case, right? I don't know if I'm gonna buy a case, but we'll see. But it's great for stores that they can guarantee that they pull that collector rare and then sell it to make some money back, sell it as singles. It very much incentivizes stores to crack boxes and open and then sell the singles. This change will prevent a lot of frustration from people opening lots of product and getting unlucky. This is really important too. Cases can still have more than one collector rare. This is important because of stores that would possibly open up a case until they got the collector rare and then sell the rest of the product sealed to people who didn't know that the collector rare had already been pulled. Because you can get more than one, it means that those boxes still have a chance to have a big hit in it, which is very, very important for this kind of setup. They can't talk about collector rares without showing off a couple. Here are some you can find in Fractured Crown. Look at this. They look so rad. And here we also have some collector rares that are not champions, which previously they have all been champions. We have Crawl Stone Scale Tyrant, which is an absolute house. This card is disgusting. And also dragons. We got some dragons finally. So this is a 6/8 Terra Tamer Beast Dragon. It's a unique ally, so you can only have one, but you only need one because this dude's going to wreck your face. As additional cost to activate this card, banish 2 preserved cards from your material deck. So you need to have at least 2 preserved cards in your material deck to play this card. Intercept, Spell Shroud, True Sight, Vigor. Holy crap. Class bonus, so if you're a Tamer. On attack, reveal the top 2 cards of your deck and then put them into your material deck preserved. Very interesting. So yeah, this is a house, and this card is going to be very scary. We also have Lancelot that we talked about in the last video, but here's the collector version of Lancelot, and you can see both of them have alternate art, and you can see like the signature and all that great stuff. I don't think these will be serialized because they're collector rares, not collector ultra rares, which are serialized. Ooh, and then here we go. This is what I'm talking about. We have Merlin Kingslayer. What the hell happened to Lorraine? Because this is Lorraine's body, but you can see, I wonder if we can make this image bigger. Yeah, you can see that she's got, her eye color has changed, and there's like some of Merlin's magic seeping through. I think Merlin stole Lorraine's body. Dude, I'm very curious to see what the lore is, but this is cool stuff right off the bat. And also this is a super rare champion mage warrior hybrid, already second set hybrid. And then it has like this awesome ability, and it also has Merlin lineage, which is really cool. It means you can only play this from a Merlin champion. So it actually makes Merlin like viable, but it also enables warrior cards too. So you have mage and warrior cards. So I think what would be sweet with this card in particular, you have a mage deck, but then your end game might be like the Crux warrior cards, because this is a Crux, it enables Crux element. So we have 2 collector rare variants. So we have like the standard one here, the same as Lancelot and Crawl. Then we have this really flashy one with a different border, and it's also got, the art is a little bit different, right? Like look at her face, super cool. And then they're also adding a new rarity type called Armaments. So previously, you get an average of 3 Poils a box, which is 1 ultra rare per box, and 1 collector rare in, out, or 1 CR in, out of many, many boxes, right? So because of the wide margin in the pull rate of normal cards and collector rares, it led to high variance box openings. Yeah, I've seen people open up, me personally too, you open up a box with super rare that had like 12 super rares, and then you also had someone who opened up a box that had like 2 super rares. It was wild. There was a need for a new chase rarity before collector rares. I agree, because collector rares are very, very hard to pull. In Fractured Crown, we have a subset called Fractured Crown Armaments, FTCA, which is a 26 card set consisting of common and uncommon regalia from Dawn of Ashes. So you can get like really fancy versions of the previous set's regalia, which is pretty cool. The only difference is that they'll be given a new exciting special card treatment. We're excited to show these off soon. I cannot wait. I bet they're going to look awesome. Then the armament cards will be labeled as SR rarity and will appear on average 1 in every 3 boxes. That's cool. That's really cool. So you have like a chance to get mid-level hits, which is awesome. And here's some more spoilers, which is also cool. Look at this. Look at this slime, by the way. Look how cute. Look how effing cute this freaking slime is. I absolutely love this. Also, he like blows up and deals damage to everything. Here we have like this big old turtle, like this turtle pump. So this is Ocean's Blessing. This is a Fantasia ally link, and the ally gets +1 and taunt and has floating memory, which is great. You have Riptide Slash, which is a warrior water card, class bonus, on attack glimpse 2, and then on kill you put the top card of your deck into your graveyard, which is interesting. This is kind of relevant for some combo-y stuff. And then we have Ventus, Staff of Zephyrs. I actually really like this card. It's a 0-drop Wind Mage Regalia. And it says, whenever you activate a Wind Mage spell, put a refinement counter on Ventus. And you can activate it or rest it to remove a refinement counter from Ventus and put on a Lighten counter on your champion. And you can also remove 3 refinement counters to suppress an ally. I think this set is shaping up to be very, very cool. I mean, like I said, probably something, I called the video something along the lines of this, but I think Grand Archive's really doing it. I think they're going the distance, and I am so excited for the future of this game. I've been playtesting the game a lot in the last, several days. I built my first, actual constructed deck, Fire Assassin, of course, and it's just so much fun. It's so much fun, so I highly, highly recommend, if you are interested in Grand Archive, check out the Ultra Edition of Dawn of Ashes, which will be launching in only 3 days from the recording of this video on the 28th, April 28th. And see if your local game store can pick it up. Most distributors will be selling it, right? But also, if for whatever reason your game store is stubborn and they don't want to carry a brand new game, which I can see that a lot of stores are kind of like that, then Grand Archive will be available on TCGPLAYER. So the stores that do want to carry it at least could sell product on TCGPLAYER, singles, and sealed. So yeah, the future is radiant for Grand Archive. I'm so stoked for it. Please let me know what you think of the Grand Archive content. This channel is, I like to say, 95% flesh and blood, but there have been some big news in Grand Archive recently, and I'm very excited about the game. Very excited. I will have more news about the Red Zone Rogues Gallery, I guess you want to call it the starter deck tournament or event that's going to be on my Rogues Gallery Discord. Links in the description down below to the Discord. But if you'd like to enter the event, well, just stay tuned. Stay tuned. I'll post more information in the Discord, as well as I will likely make a video about it. But to give a little recap of that, yeah, it's going to be an event focused on people playing the game, not necessarily winning. We might have some prizes for winners, but we're gonna have everyone's gonna get stuff. You're gonna get event packs, you're gonna get regular packs as long as you play all of your matches. And then we're also gonna have deck boxes. I'm gonna toss in my last Honshu signed playmat, and it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a lot of fun. So that's gonna happen in May, and yeah, that's about that. We've already it was almost a half hour long. So thanks for watching, everyone, and we'll see you next time.